Welcome to the Abundance Effect, where we empower ambitious women with practical tools to live their most rich and fulfilling life in business and beyond. I'm your host, Larisa Makuch. Let's get started. If you secretly resent your calendar and feel trapped by expectations, maybe you still insist on doing things your way, this episode might sting a little, because the very thing that you think is actually restricting you might be the only thing that will set you free. Now, I get it. This was me, and I did not want to be managed. I did not want to be boxed in. I did not want to feel owned by a schedule or by other people's expectations. So I built my business on instinct. I went in ready, fire, aim. And honestly, it worked at first. It created momentum. It built confidence. It proved that I could move. However, momentum without structure eventually turns into chaos. I'm going to repeat that again. Momentum without structure eventually turns into chaos. That was a big realization, because that realization, it didn't hit me in a strategy meeting. It actually hit me during my NLP training. So NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. More on that another day. And I remember sitting in this board designation program in this big training many years ago, and we were exploring group dynamics, value levels, how people operate within different systems. And I had this really uncomfortable realization. It was like put right in front of me because I was avoiding it so much. I was aspiring to build something super substantial, something amazing, a business, a movement, an impact. And yet, I was completely rejecting structure. Again, I started that business ready, fire, aim. And I am so grateful that it did get me moving. It did build momentum, but it was not sustainable and definitely not scalable. So there's a difference between ignition and infrastructure. I had ignition without infrastructure. And what happens is over time, that gets exhausting. Now, many ambitious women, they think, if I just schedule everything, I'm going to lose my magic. But here's the truth. Structure doesn't suffocate creativity. It protects it. That's a writer downer. Structure doesn't suffocate creativity. It actually protects it. Now, there's real neuroscience behind this. When the brain perceives chaos or ambiguity, it activates threat detection systems, especially the amygdala. When there's uncertainty, you get more cognitive load. And when cognitive load is high, creativity drops. So research in cognitive psychology, it shows that when the brain has predictable frameworks, it actually frees up your working memory for higher order thinking, for innovation, for problem solving, for strategy. Basically, in simple terms, when your nervous system actually feels safe, your creativity expands. So structure creates safety, and safety allows flow. Simple. Structure creates safety. Safety allows flow. A few years back, I was running weekly mindset, leadership, and goal achievement trainings. Now, clients loved setting what we call big, juicy goals. So let me just define that for you so you have context. A big, juicy goal is something that is really compelling. It's so compelling that you almost salivate thinking about it. It literally creates a physiological response. Your body lights up. It's exciting. It's a little scary. However, it's deeply meaningful. And my clients were dreaming beautifully. But here's what they started asking for. Can you give us more structure on how to actually execute this? Because inspiration is not the same thing as integration. And this is where I had another realization. There is a massive difference between mood change and behavior change. Now, mood gets you excited. Behavior builds the result. Manifestation is a really powerful thing. However, without structure, it just becomes spiritual procrastination. And that doesn't make anyone feel good long term. That's where the abundance focus system was born. Not because I wanted more rigidity, but because I wanted freedom. I wanted more freedom. And here's what I realized. If you want flow in your creativity, you need structure in your execution. If you want expansion in your vision, you need containment in your calendar. So we built something simple: yearly goal setting and dream stretching, quarterly priority resets and recalibrations, monthly check-ins to stay on track, and a weekly focus Friday to map the week with intention. Not complicated. It's rhythmic, works with the law of rhythm. This is a universal principle, and rhythm is so regulating. Regulation fuels performance, and there's research on this too. Now, studies on habit formation, it shows that consistent review cycles, they dramatically increase follow-through. Why? Because your brain literally stops treating the goal as this abstract thing like way out there, and it starts treating it as something active, something real. And attention equals importance. When your brain puts more attention on something, all of a sudden it becomes more present and more important in your life. What you repeatedly attend to, you're going to strengthen neurologically. Where your focus goes, energy flows, and results show. Put your attention on the things you want. This is not rocket science. Quick pause to say thank you so much for being here. The feedback on the abundance effect has been absolutely incredible, and we want to keep these episodes deeply relevant to you. If there's a topic that you'd love for me to cover or a question that you want help with, email bookings@myabundanceacademy.ca. There's a link in the description of this video. We're always listening. Your voice shapes this show. So let's get back to it. Now, within the first month of launching this system, something really, really powerful happened. It's kind of like a breakthrough moment because clients, they actually started achieving things that they had conveniently postponed and just put off for months. Some people put things off for years. Some were simple things: calls they avoided, conversations they delayed, projects that lingered in mental clutter. However, when they completed them, you could feel the energetic shift. Just heaviness lifted. And this is what people underestimate. Unfinished commitments, they actually drain your energy. They just suck it right out of you. Open loops, they increase your stress load. There's research from the Zeigarnik Effect that shows unfinished tasks, they actually occupy mental bandwidth. They consume it. And when we complete them, your cognitive tension, it reduces. It gets quieter. Your clarity increases, your energy returns, your structure that you have in your life and business helps you actually close the loops. And these closed loops, they create momentum. Simple, not always easy. But what was one of the most important elements? Okay. I did not ask my clients for perfection. I asked them for attention. Attention to a few key priorities, not 20 things, just 3 key things. That's it. If you want to touch on the importance of fewer things and the power of focus, check out episode number 4 of the Abundance Effect on the to-do list, because you do not want to have a big old to-do list. Now, fewer priorities is key. What happened is within 2 or 3 cycles of planning this way, something totally shifted. They stopped needing me to tell them what to do. They became discerning. They became strategic. They started thinking on their own. They got calm in their planning. They got creative in their thinking, because once structure became internalized, it no longer felt restrictive. It's like the handcuffs came off. They felt empowered. I felt empowered. And the more I did this, the easier it got. The more I did this, the more fun it got. Now, here's a line I wish someone had told me earlier. Structure is not the opposite of freedom. It is the pathway to it. I'm sure people said it, but clearly I did not hear it. So I'm going to repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Structure is not the opposite of freedom. It is the pathway to it. Flow without structure feels really good temporarily. Structure without flow feels rigid. But structure for flow, that's mastery. That's sustainability. That's how big, juicy goals become real life. I used to think being flowy meant being evolved. Now I know that being powerful means knowing when to be fluid and when to be firm. The women who scale, the leaders who sustain energy, the creatives who don't burn out, They build containers because creativity needs a frame, just like a river needs banks. Without banks, it floods. With banks, it flows, and it can flow fast. It can flow beautifully. So if you're listening and thinking, I need more structure, or maybe you're like, I'm tired of starting strong and just drifting away. We're opening another round of abundance focus system planning sessions for this next quarter. And we're beginning the evening of Monday, March 9th. This is something we do every 3 months, another 3-month segment. If having some kind of structure to support your flow sounds like it would be meaningful to you, I want you to consider joining us. You'll receive workbooks, guided planning sessions, quarterly mapping, monthly recalibration, weekly focus Fridays, community accountability, and a one-on-one strategy session to personalize your next season. Really simple, it works, and it creates freedom. If this sounds like it might be a good fit for you, I want you to email Larisa at myabundanceacademy.ca, Larisa at myabundanceacademy.ca. And there will be a link in the bio as well. Or you can just send me a direct message and mention AFS, and I will make sure that myself or my team get the details to you. And if you know someone who's brilliant but scattered, send this episode to her as well, because it might change her life. Big vision deserves solid structure. Flow deserves a framework. And I will see you in the next episode of The Abundance Effect.